Chapter 5 Growth and Development. In this chapter, we'll discuss growth and development from birth until old age. Adolescence is the period of growth and development between childhood and adulthood. This is the period of growth that brings the most physical and emotional growth. The pituitary gland is known as the king of glands. It receives messages from the brain to tell it when to release hormones. Hormones are chemical substances released into the bloodstream by the glands. During puberty, growth hormones and sex-specific hormones are released to cause changes in the body. For most people, changing moods are most common during adolescence. This is caused by the release of hormones. Let's talk about females. The female reproductive glands are the ovaries. They receive a message from the pituitary gland to begin producing estrogen. Estrogen is the primary female developmental hormone. Growth spurt usually begins earlier than boys, ends around the age of 18, and the greatest weight gains occur between the ages of 12 and 13. Let's discuss the boys. The testes are the male reproductive organs. They release testosterone. Testosterone is the primary male developmental hormone. The boy's growth spurt starts later than the females, usually begins around the ages of 11 to 15 and ends around the age of 20. The greatest weight gains are between 14 and 15 years old. Heredity is the passing of traits from parents to children. What traits do you have from your parents? You get traits such as eye color, height, weight, hair color, certain skills, and levels of intelligence. Proper diet, rest, and exercise can help improve the traits that are passed on. So you can actually improve the traits that you get from your parents. Your environment is the surroundings and experiences that influence a person's development. Think about the environment that you're in. Chromosomes are strands of material in cells that carry the coded messages for inherited traits. There are 46 chromosomes in a fertilized human egg. DNA is the chemical within chromosomes that contains the coded messages of heredity. The gene is the part of the chromosome that determines a single inherited trait. Relationships with your family and friends. There are lots of relationship types. Pause the video. How many relationship types can you think of? How many of these did you think of? There are a variety of relationship types. All involve communication with other people. An important key to having a good relationship with your family is communicating with them, being open and honest. Communication skills. Read through these communication skills. Do you have all of these, or do you need to work on a few? Friendships. They're usually based on common interests. When friendships change, it often means interests have changed. Boy-girl relationships. Boy-girl relationships can be very stressful. Why? Signs of an unhealthy relationship include one person tries to change the other, one person makes most of the decisions, one person yells, threatens, hits, throws, anything during an argument. Also, one person makes fun of other people's opinions and interests, and there are more bad times than good. Relationships can also be rewarding. When you have mutual respect, trust, honesty, support, fairness, and good communication, relationships are great. Things to be aware of, though: feelings, your friendships, peer pressure, society pressure, and abstinence, refraining from sexual activity. 75% of all teenage marriages fail, mostly because of unrealistic expectations and poor education of what marriage should be. The stages of life. Young adulthood is when you establish a career after going to college and you begin living on your own for the first time, usually finding a job while in school. Adulthood brings bigger responsibilities: marriage, children, money to pay bills, rent, and food. Also, you start thinking about retirement. Deciding when to retire usually occurs during middle age, which is 55 to 65. What three things would you like to do as a career? Maybe you can only think of one thing at this point that you would like to do. What is it? What is more important to you? Liking what you do for a living or how much money you make? Or does how much money you make decide what you like to do for a living? Will you get married? By what age? What might the impact of this be? Do you think you'll have kids? If so, how many? What might the impact of how many kids you decide to have be? Newborn babies are usually 19 to 21 inches long. Why do you think babies aren't born bigger than they are? And what kinds of things can affect how tall you'll be when you're fully grown? Stages of development. Infants are considered 0 to 1 years old. Toddlers, 1 to 3. A child is 4 to 10. Adolescents, where you are, 11 to 18. Young adult, 19 to 39. Middle age, 40 to 65. And elderly, older than 66. The stages of life. In what stages do we accomplish each of these developmental milestones? Pause the video and take a guess. This concludes Chapter 5. Be ready to discuss all of these topics in more depth in class.